Welcome back to another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. I'm Nikki, Batgirl D'Angelo, and today we're going to be talking about the first concept ship sale for 2016. And I'm standing in front of my Gladius. Why am I doing that? Well, the first ship is going to be a Vandal fighter. It's going to be a Vandal Light Fighter called the Blade. How do I know this? Because by the time you watch this, it should probably have already been announced on Around the Verse. How do I know it's the Blade? Well, Ben has frequently said on my ship that one of the first ships that we'll be seeing from the Vandal fleet, and probably the only one before Squadron 42 comes out, is going to be the Vandal Blade. And it is a really fun ship to play. That led me to believe that the ship might be done, but this is a concept ship sale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to frame what light fighter, medium fighter, and heavy fighter might be in the Vanddul space. So right now, a light fighter would have to be something in the same class as the Gladius and the Mustang. So it will have fewer weapons than the Scythe and the Glaive. It will have lighter armor, and you could take, for instance, the three ships that we have in line right here. We had the Gladius, we have the Hornet, and Super Hornet in this case, and we have the Saber, which are light and medium fighters. I don't have any heavy fighters right there, but the heavy fighter would be closer to the Vanguard. So that's the lineup that we would have in the UEE. But in the space of the Vanddul, it's going to be the Blade, the Scythe, and the Glaive. Okay, that's what we're going to call it right now. So in order to get theoretically, in theory, get the Gladius to have kind of the same type of punch that you would expect the Blade to have, I'm going to do a little bit of work on the weapons here. Now, I did throw the CF-117s on them before, but it seems like the Vandal lasers are a lot heavier hitting than that, and they need bigger coolers. So what I did is I bought the two big coolers from the rec store, and I'm going to put two OS6s on this. And then we're going to take it into space and see how it flies. So let's just skip ahead to that, and then we could talk a little bit about what I expect from the ship sale. So in the first little scene that you're seeing here, you're seeing something that is akin to what UEE fighters are. Very lightweight, very maneuverable, and lighter weaponry. But in this situation, what I've done is I've added two Niskis or Omni-Skies OS6s, and they pack a powerful punch. And you only need a couple of real hits on the target with them, 2 to 3 hits to really do enough damage to start taking them down. You can see right there, I'm taking some hits on this one, and look at that. The shields just melt away, done, and I'm starting to take the ship apart. So I think that the Blade will be something similar to this, where you'll have something that's very lightweight, very fast. I expect the Blade to be fast. I expect the Blade to be approaching M50 speed. And it's just, to me, it sounds like that's what it would be. It would be that fighter that the Vandal have. And remember, they're more warriors, so they take more risks than we do. We're more akin to saving our skin, right? Saving our own skin, to being survivalists in the fight. That's what the UE is about, to live to fight another day. The Vandal, I guess they're more like pack animals. They're going to have somebody run in there and break up the mess of fighters that we have, or whatever formations we have. That's what I expect this Blade to be. So the Blade's going to be very fast, and it's going to have hard-hitting weapons. I expect it to have at least the lasers that are on the fronts of the Glaive and the Scythe, and those are much harder hitting than our lasers. At least they seem to be when you fire them. Alright, so this is the Gladius, and of course maneuverability is going to have us black out occasionally, and we just pulled a little bit back from that blackout. We have some missiles on this, we have some guns on this, and we have the signature Gatling cannon in the front on this. So let's jump over to one of the more known Vandal fighters, and this is going to be the captured Scythe. Now I'm throwing the captured Scythe in here and the Asperian Glaive in here separately because they are two separate ships, even though they borrow a lot from each other. But in theory, the Glaive is a UEE fighter built by a UEE company, and you can get parts for it. The Glaive is something that you can buy readily, and it is a dissimilar spacecraft trainer, kind of like what the U.S. Navy and Air Force uses and other Air Forces use during their training. But this is the Scythe. The Scythe is a captured fighter. And as a captured fighter, it means that the UEE isn't readily building parts for this. So you're going to rely on people in the salvage profession, and you're going to rely on your ties, your reputation, your familiarity with the Banu to be able to get the Vanddul parts that you'll need to keep your Scythe working. And now, there's not a whole lot of Scythes out there right now. I think there's only about 300 to 500, maybe a little bit more, but you're going to find that it's going to be very difficult to keep them running over time. Also, I don't believe that, I think there's LTI on the ones that you have now that were purchased, but when you actually capture one in space, I don't think you'll be able to get insurance on it. Nonetheless, this is a much harder hitting fighter. This has the one wing on the side, which is heavily reinforced armor, and it's used to cut through formations and potentially destroy or disable some of the craft as it comes in contact with them by slicing through their armor with its wing. Now, on the front, we have two heavy-duty lasers, and then on each side, you have a neutron cannon on one side and a plasma cannon on the other, and they are just hard hitting, very hard hitting. And I think the flight models for the Vanddul fighters are totally broken inside this game. That is something I can tell you is a definite thing that's hampering me showing you the true ability of this, which really, just flying these two has made me understand why the Vanddul go out of the out of bounds all the time. So let's stop here and let's bring in the Glaive. So we're back in the Glaive, and the Glaive again is it's kind of a knockoff that was built by a UEE company. It is absolutely a beautiful spacecraft, and I can't wait until the flight model is fixed on it, because currently the flight model is about as good. Well, it isn't good. There's nothing I could say. It's just a piece of crap. This flight model is broken, very, very broken. And you can see it right here. You cannot keep your velocity vector. There it is over to the center. It takes minutes sometimes to do a full turnaround, and to the point where you're going in totally different directions, and you constantly have to use the space brake to turn it off. Nonetheless, this is a heavy fighter, and it's got a lot of weaponry. Mostly, think of it like a missile boat. It carries like 10 or 12 Vanddul missiles, and they are just phenomenal. This ship, once the flight model is fixed, I will repurchase it. I had bought one. It was $350, but I melted it to get my Carrack. And I will repurchase it at some point in the future, because I do think that once they get this going, it's going to be a beautiful ship to fly. Nonetheless, this is the heavy fighter, and its main duty isn't to sit here and dogfight with other spacecraft, and maybe that's why the way I'm using it is totally wrong, but it's meant to go in and take down some of the heavier and more medium-sized ships, like the Constellation and the Retaliator sized ones. But again, here I am having that same problem I had with the Vandal Scythe, and I really can't show you how awesome this spacecraft is going to be at some point. Nonetheless, it is a very alien spacecraft to us. You do fly it differently lying down, which I would expect the blade to still continue doing. I wish in the upgrades they would actually fix it. I mean, there's more than enough room in these cockpits. I wish they would fix it so there was like more of a human cockpit in it where you're sitting down. Ooh, looks like we took a hit there. Yeah, we took a major hit. And that was bad. But nonetheless, we have this ship going on sale, and it should be called the Blade or something thereabout. It is the Light Fighter, And my guess, because they didn't give us the normal week in advance, is that this is going to be less than $100 US. My guess would be it's somewhere between what the Gladius was released at and say what the Hull B was released at, which would be somewhere between $70 and $90. Oh, there I am going out of bounds again, which is very easy to do in the Vanddul Scythe and the Vandal Glaive. So $70 to $90, I think that is a good price for this. Now, I'm excited that they have more ships coming in here because honestly, the only thing that you could do in the game right now is fight. Give me 1 second. I don't want this to end. Oh, we'll let it go for a few minutes. So I'm excited about the diversity of spacecraft. On ATV this week, I heard Sandy and Ben talking about it. They said there's 30 spacecraft that you can fly. Well, there kind of are. But there are a lot of models of the same space frame. So you have a lot of Auroras, 300s. You have different... crashing again. This is just wonderful. You have different Hornets. You have different Mustangs. You have different constellations. You know what I mean? So we have all these different ships, but a lot of them are just variants of one another. But when you bring in a ship that's not a variant at all and still a fighter, which is all we can do in the game right now is really fight for the time being. I like that because it gives a diversity and it makes the world seem more alive, like it's more realistic. So that's what I got for you. Tomorrow, ship sale. It's a Vanddul ship. I believe it's going to be called the Blade, only based on information Ben has already publicly said on my show in the past. My guess, with no foreknowledge, is that it's going to be $70 to $90, somewhere in that price point. Is it worth it? I can't tell you until I fly it. Am I going to buy one? Yeah, I'll find a way. I find a way to buy most ships, and this is one that I think will be good in my hangar because I really do like the... I want to see if I got this guy. Do I? No. Well, let's see. Ooh, we got him. Good. I really do like the way that the light fighters play in this game. I love the maneuverability. I love the opportunity to swoop in real fast, get a couple of shots off, and then bolt out of there as quickly as possible, only to come back and do it again. It's kind of like playing an American fighter back in World War II with the boom and zoom technique. And I think that this is going to be something that I may like to fly. Nonetheless, the current Vanddul fighters that we have are not very fun to fly. So I hope before that even makes it into the game that they do fix these ships and make them a lot more fun and a lot easier to use inside the PU and Arena Commander. Well, folks, that's all I got for you. Again, ship sale tomorrow. Get your wallet and purses and knapsacks and whatever else you have to get ready. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.